Welcome to the School Library Journal Bobcast. The month of March is a month of tournaments, and thanks to SLJ, for the last 9 years, kids' books have been included in an online contest where we take last year's best books and put them cover to cover to see which one will remain standing. To help us know more about the Battle of the Books, we have two experts with us. We have, first off, Monica Ettinger, teacher at Dalton and 1/3 of the Battle Commander. Welcome, Monica.
Thank you.
And Shelly Diaz. Shelly is the Judge Wrangler and SLJ Reviews Manager. Yes, Shelly. Monica, you've been here since the beginning, 9 years ago, of Battle of the Books. So tell us about Battle of the Books.
Well, it started because I was following something called the Tournament of Books, which is for adults, and really wanted to do something similar for children's books, and approached SLJ, and they were very interested. And then I asked my colleague Roxanne Feldman at the Dalton Schools, the librarian there, and Jonathan Hunt, who's in California, and we became the three-headed battle commander, and we spent every year wrangling among ourselves to come up with 16 great contenders, and we have to do that by December 1st.
So Shelly, is it hard keeping, first of all, the three battle commanders in tow and all those judges?
Well, they're a rowdy bunch, but I try my best. And it's fun recruiting author celebrity judges. I try to match them according to categories and genres. And it's I'm the point person at SLJ, and it's the best job at all.
And this year, there's something new in the mix. What's that?
Picture books.
Picture books.
So when I came up with this idea, I really didn't understand how tournaments worked. So I thought, sure, we could have picture books, middle grades, everything, until someone pointed out a picture book and a YA book is not really a fair mix. So this year, Roxanne came up with a solution, which is to sort of in the first round, pit the different age groups against each other. So we have picture books in the first and second round against each other, middle grades against each other, and YA. So they're not going to really start mixing up, I think, until the third round. So we're really excited about that.
What picture books do you have?
Well, we have Freedom in Congo Square by Carol Boston Weatherford, and published by Little Beat Books. It's illustrated beautifully by R. Gregory Christie, against Freedom Over Me by the amazing author-illustrator Ashley Bryan. And this book is published by Simon & Schuster. And Duncan Tanachu, he is the judge of this first round. He's a Pura Verpre winner, and he has a tough job ahead of him.
You have the venerable Ashley Bryant up against Carol, who won the Caldecott and a Jane Addams honor. I'm glad I am not in Duncan's shoes.
Yeah, they're really both incredibly beautifully illustrated books. The research is impeccable about the history of enslaved people in our country and their resilience. And it's a really tough one to call.
Yeah, both books won multiple awards at Midwinter, and it's really up to the judges' taste. I would call on Freedom in Congo Square. I think that's where Duncan is going to go because he's a nonfiction author, and he might just go with the nonfiction text on this one.
Well, Shelly, you're sticking your neck out with that prediction. We'll see how you do. And poetry, how do you think poetry is going to fare?
Well, first of all, I'm really proud of the poetry over the years that we've managed to have in the competition this year. Our second two picture books are Thunderboy Jr. by Sherman Alexie, illustrated by Eugene Morales, and When Green Becomes Tomatoes by Julie Fogliano, illustrated by Julie Morrison. That's published by Macmillan. The previous book is Little Brown, and they're going to be judged by Lulu Delacre. The first book is poetic. The second one is a collection of seasonally themed poems, and it'll be really interesting to see if that one moves forward.
Well, I can't say it's a bold prediction because you'll say we have to see. So we'll see how poetry fares, Monica.
Yeah, I wouldn't underestimate the Sherman Alexie, Juji Morales team. I think that's a powerhouse team right there. But another poetry collection that I'm putting my hat in the ring for is Wet Cement by Bob Rosca, published by Macmillan. It's a collection of concrete poems, and I think, you know, with this one in the mix, we might have something to look at. But it's going up against a middle grade fantasy by Grace Lynn, When the Sea Turns to Silver. and it's published by Little Brown. It's beautifully illustrated by Grace as well. It could be anybody's game in this one.
So there's a way that fans and kids could actually participate and vote. How do they do that?
They can bring one of our contenders back from the dead. And
Back from the dead. Back from the dead.
Yes. Call it the Undead Poll, and it is open now. Will be open for a couple more days till March 12th. And what this is fans can vote for their favorite book, and if it's eliminated before the final round, it will come back in the final round. So our closer, Kwame Alexander, will then make a judgment between the two winners of the third round and our Undead winner.
So has a wild card ever won the whole thing?
Good question. The first year, we were a little fuzzy about how this Undead Poll would work. So it was actually won by the Hunger Games. And then the two finalists for our closer at the time was Lois Lowry, while the Hunger Games and Octavian Nothing. Hunger Games won, so in effect, the wild card kind of won that year. It won in both categories. And then in 2012, we had the Undead winner was Gary D. Schmidt's OK for Now, and it went up against Mal Pete's Life, an Unexploded Diagram.
Between Shades of Grey by my friend Ruta Septis.
Exactly.
Septis.
And lo and behold, Gary Schmidt's OK for Now won that year.
Well, you guys have to promise me one thing. When you announce the final winner, let's not have what happened on the Academy Awards, okay? Years back, there was a little flub, wasn't there?
Yeah, it wasn't quite as bad as the Academy Awards. It didn't happen at the end. However, the first year we worked with a different blogging platform. We weren't aware that it was set Pacific time, and we're in the Northeast, so things would sort of publish 3 hours earlier than we had planned. And once we figured it out, we sorted it out, we undid it, but there were a couple of uncomfortable moments that first year.
So there's other ways people can participate too, right?
Yes, that's right. We encourage schools, libraries, bookstores all over to host their own mock Bobs, the same way that they would do a mock Caldecott or a mock Newberry. And also, for the first time this year, we're actually going to have a fantasy Bob taking place at the Dalton School. So that should be interesting to watch.
And I should just mention that we have brackets that you can download from our site. Some are quite large, and they're awesome for Bobs that are going to be taking place around the country.
So one of the things that makes Bob so special is the incredible artwork that goes along with the competition. And the person responsible for that artwork is Mark Tuckman.
Yes,
the creative director for School Library Journal. And you brought a few Bob pieces from years gone by.
I went through my files yesterday, and I found a dozen out of hundreds of drawings. We do about 15 graphics, 15 illustrations for each Bob. So that's a lot of illustrations to go through. So I picked some that just show how it progressed from the beginning. And on the screen behind us is the two battling books from the logo. That's been pretty much the same from the beginning. And when I started out, there was really no direction for what we were doing with the art. And as the art director, creative director for School Library Journal, when Battle of the Books came to us, I had to think about how I would insert myself into this fun thing, because it did seem like a lot of fun and a little different from what I usually will do. I'm not necessarily illustrating, drawing pictures every day. So this is a project where I could sink my teeth into, and the frustrated cartoonist to me could come out. So I drew these books, and they really haven't changed over the years. And at the very beginning, it was very simple. These are little rectangles, with arms and legs, easy to do. And then year by year, we got a little more complex. It started out with a cartoon that Roxanne, one of the commanders, had written a script, and I thought it would make a fun cartoon. So we turned it into one. And from there, I started to draw the battling books with each round.
Yes.
And it was very simply little arms and legs, more or less, with a little background. But then I like to challenge myself. And so I started to get more fancy. I decided to add a little more dimension to it, with the arm going in front.
That's right.
More props, and really getting into the books. And that's when I started actually looking at and reading the books to find out what was in them. Otherwise, I couldn't do this. Then the following year, I had a theme of boxing posters, with the star in between and the type, stolen right from traditional 1960s boxing posters, which is really beautiful art form.
Yes.
2013, it got very complex. This was fun because I got to work with in almost real time and be responsive to the viewers' reactions. And so then it got more and more complex, and then I realized that I'd raised the bar way too high for myself. So lately I've been trying to pare it down more and do more of a streamlined, which is really fun, because really paring it down is harder than throwing a lot of stuff like, in there to try and get somewhere. Instead, you're really saying, well, what is it about these two books? What's the connection between them? And how can I do it as simply as possible? In this one, for instance, with The Marvels and Most Dangerous, both of them involve newspapers. Marvels referenced newspaper clippings throughout, and Most Dangerous, of course, relied on newspapers, and so that's how the theme came about. Some book pairs are easier than others to do. This is a sample of some sketches for winning books from a couple years ago, and this is drawn with pencil, and then I scan it into the computer and will color it using Adobe Illustrator. And here's a sample of the Battle Commander graphic.
So which one is Monica here of these three?
I don't know,
Well,
Monica.
she does have glasses and they're
That's so does
black.
Roxanne.
Oh, okay.
Being
Jonathan
that
doesn't.
I don't even know what Jonathan looks like, actually. I've only worked from
There
afar.
are a few people, though.
So I think they're all kind of, mix and match.
Well, it's awesome, Mark, and thanks for being here and sharing all of this.
It's a lot of fun. Thanks.
Yes. So we'll be back in a moment.
Check out the Battle of the Books blog on SLJ and download the brackets so you can play along.
And we're back. So we have some other upper elementary, middle grade books in the mix. And what are they?
We have this year's Newbery winner, Kelly Barnhill's The Girl Who Drank the Moon, published by Algonquin. And it's going to be up against Jason Reynolds' Ghost, which is published by Simon & Schuster.
Yeah, and I wonder if it will succumb to the Newberry Curse.
The Newberry Curse.
That's right.
What is the Newberry Curse?
The Newberry Curse is a really tricky thing. Since the beginning, every time we have a Newbery winner on our contender list, they never make it out of the first round. So, for example, in 2009, Judge Sean Cheska chose Sid Fleischman's The Trouble Begins at 8 over Gas, Neil Gaiman's The Graveyard book, that year's winner. And then subsequent years, we've had When You Reach Me, Dead End in Norville, The One and Only Ivan, Flora and Ulysses, and none of them have made it out of the first round.
The judge for this round is James Dashner.
Dashner.
So it's up to him to break the Newberry Curse, I guess.
We'll see. I mean, Ghost is a wonderful middle grade novel about a boy who loves to run, and I don't think we can discount this one.
Well, no pressure, Mr. Dashner, but we're all waiting to see if the Newberry Curse will continue. And there is another title in the mix that actually swept so many awards at Midwinter, and it's a nonfiction title, and that title is?
March Book 3. This book has just been taking every prize. It's a graphic novel memoir about and by Congressman John Lewis, and it's about his fight for civil rights, and it's just been winning everything. And it's published by Top Shelf, and I wouldn't be surprised if it takes the Bob crown as well.
March could definitely sweep. I mean, this is the final in a trilogy. It's a really impressive piece of work, and Judge Varian Johnson will have a really tough decision. However, we also have a bit of a dark horse in the competition, which is Louise Erdrich's Macoons from her Birch Bark House series. It's published by HarperCollins, and you never know. It just might sneak up and pass that March Book 3 by. You just don't know.
We actually have Varian Johnson here with us, sort of, who's going to tell us a little bit about his judging technique.
Hey, this is Varian Johnson, author of books like The Great Green Heist and the forthcoming puzzle mystery, The Parker Inheritance. When I got called up from the bench to serve as a judge for School Library Journal's Battle of the Books, I was ecstatic. I was going to be part of history. Everyone remembers the Battle of the Undead Poll of 2009, when the frog scientists leapt over insurmountable odds to return to the field of play? Or what about that epic 2013 Super Bowl Battle of the Books between Codename Verity, The Fault in Our Stars, and No Crystal Stare. But it's easy to be an armchair quarterback sitting on the sidelines judging books. Now, I was in the game. I had to deliver. I had so many things to consider when I was judging my books. The beauty of the text, the skill that the author and illustrator use to convey their work, and the importance, the weight, the need for these books in our world today. It was really tough, I won't lie to you. A lot of back and forth. But I'm happy to announce that out of my battle, I was able to pick the... I'm sorry? What's that? I can't tell them? Are you sure? Is that in my contract? Okay. So, it turns out I cannot tell you which book I chose in my battle. You're just gonna have to wait to find out for yourself. This is Varian Johnson, calling from Austin, Texas, where folks like to keep it weird and keep it real. Okay, are we done here? Savannah, Sydney, where's my latte? Come on, you know Daddy's not a heavy camper until he gets his caffeine. Let's go, let's go. Wait, are you still... Is that thing still filming? Turn that camera off.
I can't wait to read his new book, To Catch a Cheat. You know, I like to call it Heist Lit. And we have some other nonfiction books, don't we?
Yes, that's right. We have Tanya Lee Stone judging between two stellar nonfiction titles. The first is Pamela Turner's Samurai Rising, published by Charles Bridge. And it's up against Some Writer by Melissa Sweet, published by Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. Now, Tanya Lee Stone, she had a book in 2011 as a contender, The Good, the Bad, and the Barbie. So I'd be interested to see which direction she goes.
I have a question too for the judges. As they advance in the rounds, the judges in the later rounds really don't have that much time to read the books and make their decisions?
Well, that's kind of an in-house secret that we're just going to keep under wraps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, I am an investigative reporter, so we'll have to find that out.
But I do just want to say that the two nonfiction, you know, Some Writer, which Melissa illustrated and wrote, which is the biography of E.B. White set in this bucolic, mostly in Maine, up against Pamela Turner's somewhat violent and intense military set in Japan, Samurai Rising, wonderfully illustrated by Garth Hines. Both are just wonderfully illustrated, wonderfully written, and I think they're evenly matched. I loved both of them. I would have a really rough time making a decision there.
Well, we'll have to see. So, Shelley, you are also the YA editor for SLJ, and so how do these YA books stack up this year?
Well, if it were up to me, I would choose The Lie Tree by Frances Hardinge, and it's published by Abrams. And this book...
No pressure,
no,
but if it was up to you, okay.
If it was up to me, this awesome YA fantasy feminist message, it's just an amazing book. And Nova Rensuma is judging this book, and it's facing another great title, Anna and the Swallow Man by Gabriel Savitt, published by Random House, which is kind of a magical realism tinged World War II novel. But since Nova Rensuma has written very pro-feminist type books, I think she's going to lean my way.
But Anna and the Swallow Man's kind of a unique book. So
We'll
you predict
see.
one, I'll predict the other. So at least one of us will be right.
That's right, that's right.
And then you've got our other two YA matchups. We have The Passion of Dulce by Julie Berry, published by Penguin, which is a sort of feminist historical fiction fantasy of a teen saint who is in love with Jesus.
More than, it was his girlfriend, right?
It's sort of her girlfriend.
Right,
and
yeah.
it's really a fabulous read, very unique, very engaging. And it's up against Nicola Yoon's contemporary novel, The Sun Is Also a Star, published by Random House. That's actually a fabulous read as well. It's touching upon contemporary issues involving immigration. Both books are incredibly moving, emotive. I like both of them very much. However, our judge may go in a particular way. What do you think, Shelley?
Yeah, Brendan Kiley, he's the judge for this round, and he's mostly a realistic fiction author and with some romance woven in. So I think he might go the contemporary fiction route with The Sun Is Also a Star. That's where I think he might go.
Well, I'm going to hitch my star to that wagon also. So the tournament is beginning on what date?
March 13th.
March 13th, and people can actually learn more about this by going to the Battle of the Book blog, battleofthebook.slj.com, and they can still have time to vote in the Undead Poll. Yes. Sounds like fun. And this is the 9th year, and I can't wait to find out who wins the 9th annual Battle of the Books.
Well, follow along. March 31st, we'll know for sure who takes the crown. And Rocco, all this sports talk has me wanting to play a little volleyball. What about you?
Why not? Let's play. I didn't know it was going to be dodgeball.
Battleofthebooks.slj.com.
See ya.
Bye, everyone.